guys, Craig here again from MEGALOMATIC, filming something pretty cool for everybody today. When we put up our update video a couple of weeks ago, everybody had kind of suggested that we do rig rundowns and stuff like that. And that's something we always wanted to do and didn't know if there was like a kind of demand for it at all. But a couple of people spoke up and said they don't want to see that sort of thing. So today I'm going to be walking you guys through my guitar rig. It's not the full thing, but it's everything that I've got at home with me at the moment. A lot of the other stuff like my main cab and a couple other guitars are at the practice place, but I have a guitar, I have my pedals and I have my head, and that's the kind of main thing that make up my sound anyway. So let's all start off together with the main part of any guitar rig, and that is my guitars. So at home with me just now I have this with me. This is my kind of main guitar. It's the one that I've had the longest and is being active for the most longest. It is my 2015 Fender Strat Plus. It's a Mexican model. It's the first Stratocaster I ever got, and that's kind of become my mainstay. I now use pretty much exclusively Fender Stratocasters. They just do everything that I need them to do. A couple of wee changes that I have made to it. I didn't like the bridge pickup in it, so in all of my Strats I swapped that out for a Seymour Duncan Hot Rail. Mainly for lead stuff. For a lot of my riffier stuff I just use the stock middle pickup in all of my Strats, but for kind of lead stuff and certain double track kind of things where you need a humbucker, I didn't really like the bridge pickup sound on this anyway. I thought it was a little too twangy, and I've had that issue with all the Strats that I've had, so I swapped that out. I got this one actually from the guitarist of Skindred, so big up to Mikey for that. Other than that, it's pretty much stock, apart from in the back it's blocked off at the tremolo, mainly for tuning stability and stuff like that. I got a wee bit of block of wood and put that in the back just to block that off. On one of my other Strats is a block of wood as well, but on my white, the most recent one I got, my 2009 Olympic white Strat, that's an extra couple of springs that were put in there. Other than that, stock Fender tuners, maple neck. Can't remember for the life of me what the body is, but it sounds absolutely fantastic. It's got a really nice flame maple top on it as well. Funny story about this one, I actually got in when I got this to get an SG. Tried out about 4 or 5 SGs and didn't like the sound of any of them, and on my way out I saw this, saw that it looked exactly like Andrew Groves from Arcane Roots custom shop Strat. Tried it. It's the only guitar that I've ever got entirely on how it's clean sounded, but then it turns out it's an absolute riff machine as well if you put it to the right kind of use. And as I said, all the changes that I've made to this, I've made to the rest of my Strats, just because I found a formula that worked for me and I stuck with it. So next up here we have my amp that I've been using for the past couple of years. This is my Victory VX Kraken. Settings are a little different to what I use live and recording and stuff like that, because I do have it at home and I can't annoy my family too much by blasting this thing. I got it after using an orange amp for quite a while, and I started to go off the kind of thicker, muddier sound of the orange stuff, and I wanted something with a bit more presence to it. So I saw a bunch of guitarists that I love using Victory amps, and I looked into it and I got the Kraken, just because it's a little bit more high end than an orange is tonally. I was walking through my sounds and stuff. So gain 1, that's what I'll be using mainly for my clean stuff. It's not the cleanest of channels as it is. Both channels on this are overdrive channels, but I do have the gain quite low, to the point where it's breaking up a little bit, verging on crunch, but it's not too much. For some double track stuff I'll have it up about here, so you get that kind of martially overdrive tone. But yeah, when we're playing live I don't have it much higher than 9 o'clock there, just for that kind of dynamic crunch. If you play light enough you get it crystal clean, but if you dig in a little bit more you get that kind of stratty twang. And then next up we've got gain 2. So that's your main heavy channel on this amp. I have that, that's a little higher than I usually have it. I usually have it at about 12, maybe just pushing above that, just because this amp has more gain than anybody would ever need. So I put it at about 12 o'clock, and then some other pedals do a little bit more of the pushing if I need heavier kind of sounds. At the moment, because it was sounding quite boomy when I was recording the clips for this, I've got the bass down a little bit and middle and treble up. But what I usually have, bass up a little bit, middle at about 12, and treble up a bit as well. Because I don't have my usual cab with me at the moment, that's still at the practice place. So I'm using this orange cab, but with my usual Hoffnine cab that Tom from Hoffnine kindly made for me. That's a little bit more top end, again, tonally. So you do have to compensate for that a little bit with the EQ by boosting the bass a little bit and bringing down everything else the tiniest bit. Again, I've got the master volume really low because I'm playing in my bedroom. Usually have it about here. But again, for the size of amp it is, it's an absolute beast volume-wise. Also a switch at the back. It kind of tightens up the bass end as well. So if you want that off, you get a kind of thick, rich kind of sound. But I usually have it on just to get that kind of spanky, distorted kind of modern metal-y sound. And then I usually have it when we're playing live on the high setting because I like to hurt people's ears. But as I said just now, I'm using it on the lower setting. And you've got a nice purple LED for you there. So that is my Kraken. So this here is where the fun really kind of begins for me. If you know me personally, you know I'm an absolute pedal fiend. I've got so many more that aren't on this board just because I don't have the room for them. If I could have every pedal that I own on here, I would. I'd find a way to make it sound good. But at the moment, this is what I've been using recording and live for the past 5-6 months or so. So I'll just kind of walk you through my chain, and then I've got a bunch of presets here on the Octaswitch that I'll walk through as well. Starting top right here, going into my Korg tuner. Nothing I can really say about a tuner that you won't already know, but I've always found the Korg ones really reliable, nice big screen and everything like that. A lot of the other ones I've found, like the Polytune and the Boss one and stuff like that, can't really make out what note I'm sitting on, but that's nice bright one there. Then that goes into my Whammy. Sound wise, I usually have that on this top setting here. So that's an octave up and an octave down. So basically that means when you've got the expression pedal cocked like this, you're getting an octave down and a little bit of your dry signal, and then same goes for up here. If you got that down, you get a little bit of your dry signal and you get an octave up. And then I've got my Philly Fuzz pedal here. It's a Heretic Fuzz from them, one of the first that they did. As you can see, I really like my purple LEDs. But I don't really have much of a use for this live at the moment. A couple of my patch cables died on me and I had to take the ones that I'm using on here so I could have other pedals on my board that are more important. But the Philly Fuzz, I use that a lot for thickening up riffs and recordings and stuff like that, and doing kind of cool ambient lead stuff, mixing it with delay and reverb. But unfortunately I don't have that set up just now. And after that I've got my Horizon Devices Precision Drive. I'll turn that off just now because the LED is super bright. But yeah, that's I use that mainly as a noise gate, just because this combination of pedals can be quite noisy, but it also adds quite a lot of bite and character to your distorted tone. I have it running on quite a lot of channels. I don't use it so much on my clean, but I do use it on my distorted quite a lot, mainly to get that kind of classic modern metal-y, slappy kind of thing. So I usually have the noise gate right up on that. I've got the gain pretty much right down, tiny bit of brightness in there, and then I've got it on the third attack setting. Then we've got the Strymon timeline digital delay. This is the most recent addition to my pedal board, and I've been having so much fun with it. I used to have an MXR carbon copy, upgraded that to the Deluxe because I wanted the tap tempo in there. I work in an electronics shop and we got this in, and it was an absolute bargain, and I've always wanted a Strymon pedal, so I just picked it up the second I could. I've got a bunch of different banks and stuff like that, but this one here, this Ice Cloud, is the one that I use the most. It's a little bit of kind of digital delay with a little bit of reverb, and it's got a kind of pitch shift on the delay as well, so you get that real kind of twinkly kind of sound that's really cool. Then I've got a normal mellow digital kind of one, which I use mainly for the kind of solo-y kind of stuff and backing up my leads. And then I've got a couple of noisy ones like this Maximilian and mostly. They're just your kind of oscillating cleans that build up and build up and build up. I use them for like noise and sets and stuff like that. So if in between songs your ears hurt, it's probably because of this thing. Another really cool thing when I'm talking about that oscillate-y kind of sound, if you hold this in, it goes into like an infinite loop, and just builds and builds and builds and builds. So it's an easier way to get that kind of noisy oscillation kind of thing without having to get down on your hands and knees and fiddle with all of the knobs and stuff like that. Ben's going to have a field day with that one. And then last on my board, it's the TC Electronics Hall of Fame. I've had this for about as long as I've had that Stratocaster. That's probably the oldest pedal on my board at the moment. The settings on this change all the time, but I do tend to have it mainly for ambient clean kind of stuff. Don't use it a lot with my distorted stuff because that kind of, it gets a little bit overwhelming to me. But at the moment I've got it on a Hall setting. The effects are quite high and the tone's quite low to get that kind of muddy ambient kind of sound. All of that is running into my Octaswitch Mark III, which is the biggest lifesaver I've ever come across in my life. Since I did used to have a Bright Onion, they do custom made looper pedals. Basically, if you don't know what that is, you plug all your pedals into it and then you can set up different preset effects loops, so you don't have to tap dance all around your pedal board. The older one I did have was absolutely fantastic, but I did have a bit of trouble with the programming on it and stuff like that. It was a very simple design on the top, just a couple of buttons, which meant it was really complicated remembering how to use those buttons to program in the 10 or so presets that I had. But with this one, it's literally just each preset has a set of dip switches up here. They correspond to the pedals that you've got up at the top, and that's what your kind of your preset ends up being. So what I will do just now is what one is what, basically. So this first one is my main distortion channel. That is just amp distortion with the precision drive. The second channel here, that is the precision drive, amp distortion, and my whammy. This is what I use for all my big kind of chunky layered octavey riffs and stuff like that. With the whammy as well, what I tend to do when I'm playing with that is for the lower notes, I'll keep them in that cocked octave down position, but for any kind of higher stuff and chordy stuff to accent that, bring out the presence in it a little bit, that's when I'll use the kind of octave up thing. So I do alternate between them quite a lot within repetitions of a riff. Third here, that is distortion, precision drive, the whammy, and it is my delay and reverb. This is pretty much my noise channel. I'll put this on in between songs and at the end of a set and stuff like that, or in certain instances like the kind of solo break in Civility Smiles, something that just needs a big noisy kind of thing. We'll use that for it. Four at the end here, that is just amp distortion and delay, so that's mainly for solos and leads and kind of stuff like that. drive up here is my main clean sound. That would usually be my reverb, my delay, and my clean channel. Sixth here, that is my kind of crunchy delay kind of sound, so that's my delay with the precision drive. Sometimes for this I do have the gain a little higher on the precision drive than I usually do, but that's just to get that kind of dig in, broken clean kind of thing for the crunch. In Megalomatic stuff I use it for the second verse in coil. Seven here is my dry crunch kind of channel. That is literally just the precision drive going into my clean section of the amp. I use that Megalomatic wise on Trider, that kind of 9/4 break before the big heavy riff. That's what I use that for. And then last but not least, we have my kind of ambient clean stuff, which is my delay and reverb into the clean channel, and then I have that running with a whammy as well. That's usually pretty much always octave up when I'm doing that, especially with that ice cloud channel that I was talking about on the Strymon. Makes a really cool kind of atmospheric ambient kind of thing, and yeah, it all sounds really pretty cool. And that is my rig for all you guys who were interested in seeing that. Thank you for speaking up in the comments and stuff like that on the update video. It's something, as I said, I've wanted to do for a long time and just never had the opportunity to do it till now. So thank you guys for expressing interest. I hope you've learned something in looking through my rig and everything like that. If there's anything you think I've missed out, if there's any specific sounds you want to know about that I maybe didn't cover in this video, leave a message in the comments and we'll get back to you on that. We should have more of this kind of stuff coming for you soon. Ben will be doing a rig rundown soon, filled with all the dark glass gear you could ever need. And we'll be doing more playthroughs as we have done the past couple of weeks, and maybe some riff lessons and stuff like that if that's something you guys would be interested in. So thank you again for expressing interest in this, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for all your support over the past couple of years. It's been absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I've been Craig from Megalomatic and this has been my guitar rig. Thank you guys.